Florida State snap counts from the East Texas A&M game, they are a great sign for future success for the Noles.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We're going to be talking all things Florida State snap counts and the young players that are making a contribution and how that makes Florida State better long-term. I went over some of this yesterday, but I want to get into just the hard numbers and discuss it from a duration. If Florida State is going to make it to the playoff or even make it to a good bowl game, you need to spread out the reps. This is something that teams started doing last year because 15, 16 games is a long road. Whatever Florida State's path is, you have to look at it from a worst-case scenario, and that is attrition, because this is a contact sport. Florida State needs to balance the workload amongst the juniors and seniors that usually would take up the bulk of the reps for a 12-game schedule. But again, if you make the playoff, it's a totally different deal. You got to start preparing now, and the Noles already have. It is incredible how balanced they are in terms of defense and offense for the reps. So let's break it down as I share my screen, and we'll talk a little bit more about this over the next week or so before the game against Kent State. But again, I wanted to do it today, and we're going to start with defense. For those of you that are listening, I'm going to list this out so you don't have to worry about that at all. Now, Florida State is in a scenario where the defensive line I was a little concerned about. Jaden Jones and all these other guys got reps, though. Jaden Jones got 14. Darryl Desir had 18. He was the second most. Tylen Coleman, the kid out of junior college in Mississippi, he had 20. 18 for Grant Fielder. Like, who knew they were going to be able to do this? And I know they played a weaker opponent. I get it. But Tylen Lee, true freshman, 11. Michael Desir, another true freshman, 11. It's great sign. Darrell Jackson only played 15 reps. Daniel Lyons only played 14 reps. This is awesome. Then they even had Amari, who had to ask to get in the game. He got 3 reps as well. But just the defensive line, looking at it that way, that's a great opportunity. Now, as I kind of shifted over here and look at some of the other positions, linebacker, almost identical kind of deal. This is pretty much as balanced as it's ever going to get. Gavin Holman, 14 reps. Justin Cryer, 15 reps. Blake Nicholson, 18 reps. Elijah Herring, 15 reps. AJ Cottrell, 16 reps. You're not going to get any better than that. Now, they got walk-ons and whatnot coming into the game, and that's fine. But, I mean, if you really look at it, think about how many guys come into the football game, and like Omar Graham, 17. They had some different players here that, how do I put this? They play multiple spots. Like Graham can play some of these guys down here in the middle. Omar Graham, he had 17, 13 for Jaden Parrish. He's a freshman. Stephon Thompson, the transfer, had 9. He's from Nebraska. And then like James Williams is considered to be an outside linebacker / D end. He's got 10. Williams is really a defensive end now in their frame. So he should have been on the last section. But again, it's just so many different guys. They don't have to really worry about anybody getting overworked. When you look at it from that point of view, and again, you got to look at it. Are you going to make the playoff? If you are, this is how you do it. Load management is a part of it in the NFL, college, NBA players do it. But now Florida State, they're playing in a game like in the NBA, you can lose games. It's no big deal. Doesn't work that way in college for the football side of things. So this is smart. Again, only switch over on the positions here. Strong safety, Cromartie, he even got in the game. He's a freshman. He's a guy that wasn't expected to play a ton. He had 17 reps. KJ Kirkland, 19. Donnie Hebert, he led the DBs with 22. Ashlyn Barker, a starter, 16. Jarvis Boatwright, he had 13. Edwin Joseph, 16. Christian White, another guy that came off the bench as well, got 22. All these DBs getting these kind of reps is good news. Arnaud, 17 reps, true freshman. He's a backup corner. Jamie Howard, redshirt freshman, he had 3 reps. Kai Bates, he had 13 reps. He's a sophomore. Quintarius Jones, he had 19 reps. This is awesome to see the balance like this. The only guy over 20 in that whole group is a walk-on, and yet you won by over 70 points. Florida State is doing it right. Now, when I flip it over and look at the offensive side here in just a second, I want you to remember something. Florida State football is just trying to win these games and get better and keep as many guys healthy as possible. So I want you to think about a question. When we come back, we'll address it. What would you do for load management with Kent State coming up, not this weekend, but next? And then you got Virginia on the road on a Friday night and Miami. Would you really go lower, higher? How would you handle the Kent State game? It's another team that's very poor that Florida State's going to blow out. So let's take that into consideration because that's a very important topic next here on Locked On Seminoles. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. And with the weekend almost here, it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP who delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more time every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered the most. For Florida State, for me, Deuce Robinson. I don't think anybody is surprised by that. He had 173 yards, I believe, in the last game, 2 touchdowns, and 160 of it came in the first quarter, and he was just dominant. Deuce Robinson was a difference maker. He is going to be a guy that every team has to account for, or they're going to pay dearly. And just like Deuce Robinson produced for Florida State, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. Save every time you order, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo good through November the 18th. We are also brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is happy that the NFL season is here, and so am I. NFL is making sure you're also ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. Just visit the FanDuel app to get started. For me, the big thing is the player props. Whether it's, you could look at it from a big box perspective, who's going to win MVP, who's going to be the guy that leads the NFL in most passing yards, most receiving touchdowns, and you can do it from an individual game perspective as well. You find a matchup you like, maybe a quarterback is really good at reading zone and they're playing his zone defense. How many yards is he going to throw for in that game, as well as the obvious overs and unders. But FanDuel has you covered any way you go. So you're ready to play? Download the FanDuel app and use FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm Brian Smith, longtime recruiting analyst. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your part of your day every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. So let's talk about the offense for a second. I just went through the balance and the incredible balance the defense had. And we want to see that keep going. But I also want to address the question. Do you play in the same kind of manner that you did against East Texas A&M, against Kent State, another bad team, offensively, defensively? Remember, you're going to be 1 week from that point to play Virginia. You want to ramp it back up. You want to keep it the same. I think I would go a little higher, put a little more emphasis on chemistry, but that's just me. What do you have to say? Comment down below. Let me know what you think. So now let's switch it over and let's talk about the offensive side as I flip the switch here and we look at it from that perspective. The offense is pretty interesting for Florida State because if you look at the positions, and right now, I mean, I like to look at the offensive linemen quite a bit. See if I can find, okay. They're going to go with the center first, but Luke Pettibone, he had 42 snaps, so he didn't even play that much. 24 for Rizzi, he played at that spot, and so did Sandman Thompson. He could be Florida State's next center. He's a true freshman. He got 17 reps. That's a great sign. Go on down the list. Let's look at the offensive lineman here. Richie Leonard, 42 reps. Andre Otto, he got 30 reps. Gunnar Hansen, starting left tackle, he got 32, but also Lucas Simmons getting his most action he's ever got, 30 reps in a game. He's probably going to be the starter for Florida State next year unless somebody beats him out. And then you go on down the list and you look at the offensive guards some more. Adrian Medley, 42 reps. Jaden Todd, 30 reps. Micah Pettis, 32 reps. Jonathan Daniels at right tackle as well. He had 30 reps. Florida State did a really good job with the linemen. That was good to see because They have not developed their offensive line that well when it comes to the high school ranks, but that's how you do it. When you talk about the wide receiver position, we go down here. We can start with Camden Fryer got 8 reps. B.J. Gibson got 3 reps. Mekhi Danzey got 27. Elijah Moore got 13. Javen Boggs got 27. Tariq Mallory, the freshman from the Northeast, he got 8 reps. He could be their next big boundary receiver. So that's a great start there as well. And then there's also Gavin Blackwell got 5. Squirrel White got 16 before he got banged up. Deuce got 33. Tayshawn Gelsley got 17. Chase Lofton got 11. And finally, if you just kind of look at it overall, like Willie Suarez getting in the game is another great sign too. And tight ends, they played 5 different guys, including Marcus and Douglas leading the way with 27 reps. But, I mean, Amari got 21. Florida State did a great job there. And then finally, just want to look at the running backs briefly. They played and have as much depth at running back as any team in the country. Keziah, 7 reps. Jalen Lucas, 8. Gavin Sawchuk, 15. Samuel Singleton, 7. Cam Davis, 7. Jeremiah Johnson, he had 5. Zay Parks had 12. Chroma had 16. That is incredible. They have one of the most balanced teams in college football. And I'm telling you, this is going to really help the Noles as they move forward because you've got to play a long season. You want to be fresh for Miami, Clemson, Florida, and other. So what would you do now if you were Mike Norvell and his staff? You're going to bring it up again. Would you ramp it up just at least a little bit against Kent State? Or would you pull back to the level they did when what walk-ons and everybody play if you get up big again against Kent State? They should be up by 30 points at half. Kent State is awful. That's why I really didn't talk about them a ton this week. I looked into them and I'm like, holy cow, this team's bad. Florida State has a chance to run over this team quickly, physically, and just from a perspective of the teams don't match. Like this will be a whitewashing. I think it's a good idea they ramp it up a little bit. I don't care which position you want to talk about, secondary, linebacker, whatever. Maybe Omar Graham gets 5 more reps than he normally does. Maybe Darryl, instead of 15 reps, gets 20 along the defensive line. Get them used to it because in 6 days after that game, they've got to go play a Friday night game at Virginia. That's my take. I want to hear your take and others. If you have any questions, let me know. This has been Locked On Seminoles. Thank you once again. And please subscribe, like this podcast, and we will see you again soon on Locked On Seminoles.